Hello, everyone. My name is Swee Chu. Thank you for tuning into our podcast following the recently concluded IFL AMA session, MoneySense for Your Child. If you haven't watched the Facebook Live session, you can watch the recording on IFL's Facebook page. Today, we will be talking to our panelist, Joseph Tan, about his experience with his children, about teaching them money habits. But please note that nothing in this podcast should be construed as financial advice and that they are personal views of the panelist. Each individual circumstance is different. You are encouraged to talk to a licensed financial advisor or do your own due diligence. Now let us welcome Joseph. Hi, Joseph.
Hey, hi everyone. Hi, Sweet Chu. Great to be with you all again to talk about money sense for our children.
Thank you, Joseph. Can you share with us as an icebreaker a good financial decision and a bad one? What did you learn from them?
Sure. Two of them. One is when I was a kid, you receive ang pao, right? And I thought, those are very good seed money that I collected and put into my saving. That really helped to suddenly, create some saving over time. So I thought that was a good financial decision for me. In terms of bad one, I think there was once I remembered during secondary school time, I did not take good care of the pocket money that I have. I spent everything. So after a soccer match, right, I realized I have no money to take bus home. So I have to walk all the way from that place, which is very far away, all the way back home. And lesson learned is this, always spend within your means. Make sure you check what you have, do your budget.
You are absolutely right? So let's get started with the podcast. First question. Success can be defined as having money. Then why is it that the subject of managing money is not taught in schools? Do we expect parents to teach these life skills at home? Are parents equipped? What would you say to that, Joseph?
Well, first and foremost, I must so be proud to be a Singaporean. Why? Because our education system is one of the well-known internationally. That's a fact, right? So on that, right, of course, there are different things that's been taught in school. Like, for example, my kid, right, learn math and English and things like that. So when she goes shopping with us, I will show her, can you read the sign, how much it costs? And it helps her. I think these are the skills that we have to correlate it back to a child so that she could then use it in her life skill. Math, when I talk to her about it, in school they talk about apples and how many sticks and candy, things like that. I'll correlate back to her and tell her, okay, the one apple is like as if it's $1, right? So you bring it back to how you value money in terms of defining measurability. So I think that's helpful. And finally, I think it's important to, as a parents, to also provide the guidance. Why? Because imagine if a teacher got to face 20 to 40 students. There are limitations in my opinion. So as a parent, I think it's certainly very, very important to us to also guide the child through their learning to relate to money as far as we could.
Thank you. I understand your child is in primary school. So when did you start teaching or start the education?
When she learns about ownership, that means when she knows that this is mine and everything else in front of me, those toys are mine. I think those points where you could actually start to teach them about ownership, talking about sharing, talking about putting aside like candies and things like that, because they're really starting to correlate to things around them, learning about possessions. So with that, right, itself, have a more holistic approach whereby you could teach them value things so that when they are all more prepared, when they transit into handling money, it'll be much easier. I started, say, around 18 months old when she started nursery. From there, gradually guide her along.
Okay. Investing and insurance are crucial knowledge for working adults. However, these can be quite complicated concepts. Do you think there's a place in school-going children to introduce them to these concepts? If so, how would you broach this subject with your own children?
Now, one thing for sure is that when my child was attending kindergarten, to prepare them for primary school. The kindergarten that she attended, right, taught them about using real coins, which I still have a packet at my home to kind of once in a while go through with her, to teach her about how to handle money. So I thought that was a very good start, and I think that it is important also to follow up from there what has been taught during the kindergarten, and then into the school time. They have CCA. I think after school, right? You have those external vendor which the school does work with. I think there's a few of them, whether is it voluntary or so, that teach about money matters, MoneySense. So those are the avenues that the children could learn as well.
Thank you. Nothing teaches like getting your hands wet, but in the real world of investing, you can only start in Singapore at the age of 18. That's when how old you are to open a CDP account. So realistically, can children younger than 18 be exposed to actual investing? When your child grows up a bit more, how would you do it?
Well, if contractually a legal age, right, before 2009, if I didn't remember wrongly, was 21 years old. So 18 was really adjusted down to make sure that when a person at the age of 18 enters into a legal contract, then it's binding the fact that he's considered as full age. So I think there's always a reason to set at 18 for that matter on your question, first part of your question. And for children that are younger, I think you can always start somewhere. Like for example, when I was a kid, I do keep stamps. And you realize that these stamps actually can exchange for other stamps with your friends or even sell it. So these are some investment at your own capacity, whether your hobby, or others that could help you to have an understanding of investment. And I thought that is also it's true for children nowadays, where they collect cards or even some virtual points. Then that would also help them to appreciate what is investment. Games like, for example, Monopoly, which I play quite frequently with my kid. Teach them about when you buy a house, when I pass by, she'll remind me, Daddy, you are on Tiong Bahru now, that belongs to me. You got to pay me $30. So there, she learn, okay, I now own it. I have earning some returns. I thought these are very, very good ways to help the kid to learn.
Thank you, Joseph. Those are actually quite important tips for some of our parents. Joseph, I know you teach financial literacy to young NS boys about budgeting, even insurance and CPF. Can you share with our listeners your teaching experience from that perspective? Was it effective, these NS boys?
Well, to be very frank, when I was 18 years old, I hope there are courses like this available to me. And so I felt very passionate to the fact that, if somebody were to be there, I'm not saying that, my parents are not teaching, but again, like what I shared, I was relatively insulated when I was very young from money matters because the fact that they were afraid that, children can't handle this. So for the opportunity to teach our fellow NS personnel during the session is a joy. To me, help to impart what I know about money so that, they also will consider those when they are making their money matters decision. One thing I find very useful is to impart to them the need to have a vision, the reason, the purpose, the goal. Why do you want to save? And I usually start off my course by challenging everybody. Let's think about a goal. And I will list a few of them and then to ask them to choose as well. And a lot of them choose, right, to provide for my loved ones. And when you have a purpose and reason, you define the why, the what and the how will fall in place along the way.
Oh, that's very touching. Thanks, Joseph. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Last question. We are so plugged into social media these days. The influence of advertising narrative is a powerful one. How can we help our young children navigate and learn to distinguish the truth from the fluff? What would your advice be?
Well, as a parent, right, I think it's important to talk to your child. At least, I know we are all busy, but find time. Like for me, right, I would pet my daughter to sleep, and during those few minutes or so before she dozes off, we'll have a conversation. She will talk to me about school, talk to me about a lot of things. And I thought that, with this bond continuing the momentum, it'd be easier for her to say that, to who to turn to when she needs advice. Why? Because when she comes across certain situation where certain news in the online news or any matter that she's not sure, she can always reach out to the parents. So it's important not to shoo them away to say, hey, but Papa, Mama busy, please do your own stuff. Stay connected with your child is important. Why? Because if you don't teach them, someone else would.
Thank you, Joseph. I can tell that you are a loving father and your daughter is very fortunate to have you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And thanks to our listeners out there for tuning in today. You have been listening to a podcast on MoneySense for your child, brought to you by IFL. IFL is a collaboration between MoneySense and Singapore Polytechnic. IFL provides free and unbiased financial education to members of the public. You can follow us on social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Telegram, or visit our website at ifl.org.sg. Stay tuned for our next program. In the meantime, I wish you all a good day. Stay safe and healthy.